guys, back out here. That wind's up a little bit. We've eaten all that fish the other day, we've given it away, we've fed plenty of people. That water's still clear. It's the last run of the mackerel. I'm gonna make the most of it. It's looking pretty nice. So it's just this wind's a bit gross, but that water's warm. This wind is freezing, but whatever. You gotta risk it for the biscuit. You gotta want it. Oh! Let's hit it.
Picked up a mate to dive with, definitely always helps. He was straight into it, first drop, straight into a nice little crayfish. We measured this guy and he was definitely legal, so he was coming home with us for dinner. I like to drop straight down to the bottom normally and have a bit of a warm-up dive, stretch the lungs out, have a suss what's on the bottom, see if I can see any predatory fish hanging around. Generally, if there's Spanish around, they'll react to a bit of a scratch on the reef. When you're laying on the bottom, you can just slowly look around. It's pretty important to move as slow as possible. It's always hard, but generally if you look up, you'll see the silhouettes of the Spanish coming in overhead. It's a lot easier to spot and they come right in a lot of the time. So on this dive, I'm just dropping down to the bottom again, and I found a nice little sand patch, which when you find these on the reef, they're always my favourite little place to hunt. The gravelly sand just crunches and makes such good sound, and you can throw it up and dust a little bit and fish just come in and they love it. They're just so attracted to it, and I'm moving around a lot in these last two dives and I'm just trying to get a feel for the reef, see if there's going to be pelagics around or if I'm going to be hunting snapper and tuskies and things like that on the bottom. So it's always hard and just trying to get comfortable and settle down a little bit, I guess. Here I've stumbled across a really big plough anchor, and you can't quite see him, but in the top of that frame there was a huge groper, big blue groper, and he was just guarding it. This thing's been down on the bottom for a long time, and that groper's made himself right at home hanging around it. Blue groper, they're protected against spearfishermen, so we don't shoot them, which is definitely fair enough. They're quite a slow moving fish and they're very territorial, so a lot of the time you can actually pat them. After a handful of drops on that reef, we decided to hit the next one, find the new location, drop the flasher out, and straight away this reef was so much more alive. And it was looking a lot more promising, so we spent the next hour or so here. First drop, new location, straight into a huge school of yakkers. And yakkers are pretty much a stable diet for any predatory fish. So snapper, Spanish, mulloway, they all love them, little lollipops. So after this dive, on the way back up, I'd noticed in the distance a school of Spanish mackerel. They were intrigued by the flasher, they'd come in for a closer look, and one had come a lot closer than the rest. So it was sitting mid-water, I'd taken a quick little drop, and I swam up on his blind spot. And I've gone for the tail shot, and I don't know what's happened, but I've completely missed. I've had an absolute Barry Crocker. So as quick as I could reload, I've noticed my mate dropping straight to the bottom. I thought he must have spotted the school, but turns out on the bottom there was a huge school of mulloway, jewfish. So he's shot what looked to be about a 15 kilo jewfish here. So just as we thought we had this Jew under control, I opted out on the second shot. 3 really aggressive bull sharks have come in and absolutely destroyed this fish. So we've jumped on the ski as quick as possible. In the midst of that, my gun's fallen off the ski and I've noticed it sinking to the bottom. I've swam down and I've grabbed it, had no idea where these bull sharks are. On the way up, I've noticed them circling quite aggressive on the bottom, which you can't see in the footage. Super frustrating. So we've jumped back on the ski and we've just given them a few minutes to settle down with all that commotion, and then we got straight back into it. So far things weren't going our way. The super fishy ocean, fish everywhere, we hadn't managed to land a fish yet. So here my mate's dropped down, a Spanish mackerel, good sized one's come in, mid-water. He's had a shot and he's completely missed, which we seem to be doing a lot of that day. But never mind, we were straight back into it, and they were quite thick, you know, so the schools were coming in every couple of minutes, and as you can see here, one's dropped straight below us again. So after a few warm-up shots, managed to put a nice shot in this Spanish mackerel. As you can see, he's taken off, and here he's just playing him out on the reel. I've said it before, but these mackerel, they've got such soft flesh, so shot placement is so important with these fish. Like, you can lose so many, and they swim off and they heal fine if you do rip the shaft out. But you know, I've heard from a lot of very experienced spearos to shoot in that second half of the body, like down on the tail end, and you can generally get a better landing shot. The head shots are great, but they move so quick, you normally end up getting them in the gut cavity, and the gut cavity shots will 90% of the time rip out. Most humane way to put these fish to sleep is just a quick spike to the brain, and we're bleeding them here just for eating quality. So it's quick, it's painless for these fish, and it's all over within a couple of seconds. So after blowing the first shot on the first mackerel of the day, I'd let my mate have a couple of shots on the next few fish that had come through. And turns out I should have let him take all the shots this day, because I was having no luck at all. I've put it down to my rubber being damaged, and my shaft was actually shooting a little bit low. The sharks have come back to play again, and here there was 3 bronzies just cruising around the bottom. They weren't being aggressive or anything, they were just inquisitive, having a little look. We were kind of swimming towards them, trying to show our dominance. Yeah, because there was fish everywhere as well, so it was hard, because my mate actually shot a fish here, and within a second it got eaten off the end of his shaft. That flash is definitely doing its job. It's bringing in sharks. You can't really see it there, but there was a big school of GT. And here on this side, another school of Spanish mackerel had come through. I had GoPro issues here, but basically we both went down. And my mate managed to land one, and I didn't get close enough to one to actually get a decent shot, so I didn't bother taking the shot. Which that turned out quite well, because we had sharks on this fish quite hard, so I had to go down and get a second shot in this fish's head just to slow it up so we could get it straight back to the ski. So by this point I hadn't landed a fish yet. My mate had a couple good ones, I'd shot it plenty, and it was time to bring out the big guns. The trusty metal spoon. The Spanish mackerel, they love it, they react well to it. This was in about 18 metres of water, and I was quite exhausted. My dive time had just gone out the window, and I could not get this fish to come close to me. I played cat and mouse with it for about 4 dives, and every time I thought I was close, it'd just do one last kick, and we ended up saying our goodbyes and went our separate ways.